Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Joffrey Noodle Legs here today. Got a bit of a special one today because I got a gift from my son, and I'm extremely touched by it because he knows he knows this is one of my favourite films of all time, and I have it on Blu-ray, but it's just recently got a brand new 4K release upgrade by Second Sight, and I'm and ahhing about getting it, but because it's quite pricey. Um, and he surprised me with it, and he brought me it. And what an amazing thing to do. I cannot thank him enough. I mean, he is the greatest son in the world, and not just because he brought me this, because he is the greatest son, but I'm absolutely honoured to have this gift from him. So I won't waste any time. I'll show you what it is. It's one of my favourite films of recent time in the horror films, and it is The Witch. This is the Second Sight limited edition box set, and it is limited. It's not going to be released again, so let me unwrap it and we can have a little look, shall we? What I'm going to do is do a little unboxing of it, then later on we're going to watch it, and I'll come back with a bit of synopsis for you and a review of the quality and the transfer of the film from the Blu-ray. It's not a very old film. It came out about 2015, I think, so it's not an old film, but it's a great film. Look at that box. Isn't that amazing? A beautiful goat there. So it comes here in a really sort of like hard case box. Really nice. We can remove this sheet. That's got all the synopsis on the film and the special features. And there's the back of the box with like a drawing of the house where the family live. Some Second Sight productions. Isn't that beautiful? What a beautiful piece of artwork. Right, so what have we got in the box? Hopefully the film, which this will be it here, I believe. Yeah. Okay, it comes with 2 discs. It's got the 4K print and the Blu-ray print of the film. And some nice artwork again there. One of a crow and one of a hare. Brilliant. Smells nice and new. Right, what else have we got in the box? It comes with a book. This is a really thick book. Look, hardback with the beautiful cover. Amazing. Really good quality book. Second Sight do amazing editions. They really do. This is my first limited sort of edition from Second Sight, and it's got in it about the production of the film, about the casting of the film. It's got some great images from the film there. Look at this book. How amazing. Beautiful, beautiful book. So there's a lot of reading there. It's got lots about the costume designs. Very cool. Yeah, the costume designs. It's got some great photographs from the film. Amazing. And it smells lush. Don't you just love the smell of new sort of like paper and things? Of course, that amazing book. So there's a lot of reading to be done in there. I believe there's some interviews and some essays in there from the film. So I've got a lot of reading to do on that book, and that's a really thick book. It actually runs for 146 pages. Really cool. So that's in there. So we got the book and we got the film, and it also comes with some exclusive art cards, which are really cool. There we go. And these are really cool. They're like the images that were on the case and the box, and they're all sort of like, they're just beautiful. There's a great one there, the cover. And there's that silhouette of the house. There we go. So that is that's what comes in the oh, excuse me guys. That's what comes in the box set. So it comes with the 4K and the Blu-ray versions of the film. This one is a lot different than the Blu-ray, because the Blu-ray is fantastic, but it really lacked sort of special features. This one has special features in it, like makings of and interviews and sort of commentaries. I do like watching commentaries on some films, so I will be watching one of the commentaries on this, because sometimes it's just interesting to see some of the stories behind it. And it comes with these beautiful art cards, which I will put back in that white card. Got the films and the book. So what we're going to do, guys, a bit later on today, me and the son are going to watch it, and we're going to then I'm going to give you my review of it and the synopsis, and I'll also tell you about how the transfer is compared to like the Blu-ray. So this is Second Sight's release of The Witch. So we're going to go and watch it, and we'll let you know how it was. Right, guys. So we watched the film. Little Sullivan watched it too.
Hello, everybody.
He watched it, didn't you, mate? Yeah. There he is. You've all come to see Sullivan. Oh, and then, mate, you sit down there. So, yeah, we watched the film. So, I'll give you a bit of a synopsis on the film, first of all, if you've not seen it. Pretty much what it's about a family that came from England, in Yorkshire in England, and they went over to America, to New England, to start a new life. This is based in the 1600s. So they went over there to start a new life. They do something wrong in the plantation where they live, and they get banished. So they have to move out. So the whole family move out and looking for a piece of land to settle down. So they find a piece of land in an opening near a forest, and they build their house and start like a little farm. But what they don't realise, the land that they built their house on is in the forest area where a witch lives. And obviously everything they try to do, like start the farm, grow crops and hunt animals, just goes wrong all the time. They can't catch animals, they're just rubbish at farming, they're rubbish at everything like that, really, because they've never done it. They're probably because they're city folk. So and they struggle there. And one day the eldest daughter is minding the baby, and she's playing games with it, and the baby gets disappeared and gets taken away, obviously by the witch. And then the young lad goes looking for the young baby that's got stolen, and he sort of disappears for a while, and he turns back sort of semi-possessed and things like that. And it's about there's a husband and wife, an older daughter, two twins, a young boy and a baby. So it's quite a big family, and it's about their really hard sort of life they're living, and the sort of hardships that they go through. Um, and I feel really sorry for the family, to be honest. Nothing goes right for the family, which is a real shame for them. So that is the story. I'm not going to give you away any other plot lines about the witch or anything like that, because I do not want to spoil it for you, in case you've not seen it. It's spoken in Old English, like sort of Shakespearean. So it's got that sort of Old England sort of Shakespeare kind of language feel to it, which can be a little bit hard to understand if you sort of like not read or know any sort of like Shakespeare sort of language. It can be a little bit, oh, what they're talking about? But luckily I know that quite well, so that wasn't too bad. And I actually quite liked that, because the time when this was set in, that's the way they spoke. And I'm glad that they did that, rather than sort of like making it like, all right, mate, like today language, it'd be silly, but they stuck to the old, the, the ye old language. So I quite like that. It's really cool. So what do I think of the film? It's one of my favourite films. It's one of my favourite films of all time. It really is. Out of all the sort of new horrors, this is my favourite. It's just fantastic. I love anything to do with witchcraft, though. I find witchcraft films really haunting. Not the silly ones like Hocus Pocus. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the actual sort of proper horror films, that are based around sort of witchcraft. I will do a witchcraft top 10 someday. But I love this film. It's fantastic. And I've loved it anyway. So I knew the film. I knew what I was getting. But when my lad bought me it as a gift, I just thought, oh, wow, to have this in 4K and to have the amazing set, and the way it's all sort of like the art cards. I've got the 4K version. I've got the Blu-ray, and finally some special features. There's some interviews which I watched. They were really, really good too. So, what are the positives about this release? The transfer is really cool. They haven't messed around with it too much. Like, they haven't made it any sort of more colourful or any sort of more brighter, because I think that would have killed the film off, to be honest, because it's not supposed to be colourful. It's supposed to be that little bit bleak looking, sort of like a sort of colour washed out of it a little bit. Just because it's supposed to give you that sort of like, this is a poor hard time to live, and and it gives you that sort of feeling of yeah, this is not going to be a nice story. If it was all colourful, you'd expect it to be colourful in all this sort of happy or a normal sort of horror. But I like the bleakness of the coloration, so they haven't touched that. But the picture looks pristine. It's really sharp. It's really, really cool. We did have a couple of issues watching it with a bit of motion blurriness, but then I realised that was the settings on my actual TV weren't set properly for it. But I've altered those, and I checked it this morning, and it is none of that's in there. So it was just my settings. Um, but yeah, absolutely fantastic picture. The sound quality is really, really cool. I love the soundtrack to the film. It's really sort of harsh and soundtrack, which gives it a lot of sort of atmosphere. The atmosphere to the film is fantastic. That's another plus. I think it just really sells you like you're watching something from that period. It's not like something that you've it just looks and just feels perfect. To me, it's one of the most perfect horror films. I haven't got a really bad thing to say about it, to be honest. Um, really well acted, amazing acting. Even the young children are acting and are fantastic. The young lad is amazing. When he gets possessed, his acting skills are fantastic, and awesome cast. Really well acted throughout the whole film. It's and it's very depressing sort of film, but they just act it so well, and I love it when something falls together. It's you'd almost think that they weren't actors, that they were a family, and I think that's shows good acting, is when like you're convinced that actually this looks like a real family. It's not like a actors put together. They are the pluses to the film. The minuses, can't think of any, to be honest. So there isn't any, as far as I'm concerned. So to me, this is an essential watch, and it gets 10 out of 10. It's fantastic. Now, if you don't have 4K, there is a Blu-ray edition of the film, which is still available. Like, you can pick up dirt cheap in places like CX over like a fiver. That's the Blu-ray edition. So you can still pick it up on Blu-ray too. This copy is going to go to my lad, because I've got the Blu-ray in here now as well. So it is available on Blu-ray or 4K. Pick it up, all right? But be advised, if you're not into real slow burning films, or films with no sort of like action, this is not an action film, guys. It's a horror film with a horror story, and just because horror films doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be filled with gore, action, or anything like that. That's not always horror. Horror is what this family go through, and obviously the sort of witch element to the film. You know, it's like for example, said the Blair Witch, that minimum gore, but it was terrifying, scary because of the storyline. This is the same sort of thing. It's the storyline that makes this a horror film. I was watching the interview with the young girl that starred in it, and she says, "Oh, I thought I was making a film about a family." She goes, "I didn't really realise it was a horror film until I sat down and I watched it with like the premieres for." So it's an amazing film. To me, it's one of the greatest horror films that's ever been made, and it's an absolute pleasure to have this in my collection in this edition. This is the second sight limited edition. I don't know how long it's going to be available for, so it might be worth trying to pick it up sooner than later. I'd like to thank my son for picking this up for me as a gift. It's one of the greatest things I own. I'm gonna really treasure it and look after it. Probably trade it in next week. No, I just love it, and I just think it's the best thing I own. So thanks to my son, Lemon Lord, for picking this up for me. So that's my take on The Witch. So it's a 10 out of 10 film. It's an essential watch. It's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. So don't forget, guys, go and check out the horror hands if you get a chance. Check out Horror Geek. Check out Sarah of Horror and Horror in Todge and Man v Film. Check those channels out, and please go and check out my dear friends Russell's channel, RS Designs, as well if you can. Anyway, guys, till next time, look after yourselves, and I really hope I see you all soon.